Hi guys, this is Mariami from Shamanessence, and I know in my last recording I promised to venture into my fears and do Facebook Live, and this is just one more step before I get there, like a bit of a practice run once again. As some of you may know, I've been launching my new 12-week coaching healing program, and just like any other person who works in the healing arts, we often have to work with our own issues. And the issue of being seen and visible seemed quite contradictory to me. I didn't even know I had this issue. See, we have subconscious issues and we have unconscious issues. And, I'm an ex-dancer and performer, so in my spirit, I love showing off. I love being seen. But at the same time, I unconsciously had this great fear of visibility. So I would always be incognito, even with my Shamanessence products in the Bodhi store when the good old days when it was open. I would help people with the products, but not tell them that I made them and created them. So, some people may call that humbleness, but I'm probably not a humble person at all. It was a unconscious fear of visibility, fear of attack. And I understand it fully now. These issues are sometimes hidden, and the hidden ones are often the most interesting ones to identify. And that's what I help people release. I don't change people. I just help people become their true divine selves. And it's a really exciting journey because, in essence, on some level, we know who we are and what we are, but there's just so much garbage, so much experience and trauma and social issues and things that we've learned to just sort of like get on with life and be resilient. But at the same time, we put up our walls and we put out frequencies that often repel or attract people being that positive or negative. And I like this journey of neutralizing and just being allowed to be my authentic self and being seen as my authentic self. And it's really exciting. It's not always pleasant, but it's wonderful to have the tools to be able to do this work on myself from the body, spirit, mind, and on all levels. As some of you may know, I've been working with flower essences for many years, the Feldenkrais method. And I got very much, being quite cerebral at time, I very much got interested in the subconscious and the unconscious as hidden issues that are hidden in our hearts. But what I want to do is share with you guys some sort of freebies to just little simple things, do different videos to share people, just simple things that are just very, very essential to our well-being on a daily basis. And today's one is being barefoot, walking barefoot. And I guess I was brought up to be a barefoot person, but then I found the world was getting dirtier in the 80s. Yes, I'm that old, that chronologically gifted. I walked around a lot barefoot, even in cities where it was laughed upon and looked down upon. I didn't care. I loved being barefoot. But the city got filthy and there was a lot of concrete and the benefits of being barefoot wasn't really being utilized. And then I decided I'm going to start wearing shoes and just not get filthy feet and having to wash them 5 times a day. But now I find that if I can just get barefoot, even if it's a few minutes on the grass outside, it's the new thing now. People are calling it earthing, but it's not new. It's been around since humans have been doing it for 200,000 years, or maybe not for a little while now. And there's a profound difference in well-being and feeling just by going barefoot, even if it's just a few minutes, ideally on grass or ground or gravel, or even in cotton socks. And I'll give you a few examples before I switch off. I'm living here in Sea Point. I've got the promenade there, the grass across the road. And it's not recommended to walk barefoot when someone's just sprayed it with Roundup or poison. And you kind of normally can tell because then the birds are not really pecking around as usual. But just walking maybe most of the way to work. When I teach yoga, I take my shoes and socks off, even if it's a rainy day, and it's unbelievable. If I'm not feeling great, I just feel completely different within minutes. And I believe I've seen footage it's been scientifically proven that the toxins are pulled out of the feet, and there's a connection to the earth with being barefoot. And I know from my work that when the magnetic field, your energetic field, your aura is weak, it's often because we don't have enough connection with nature, and walking barefoot is a complete different experience of wearing shoes. I'll give you my second example. Occasionally, not frequently enough, we have a mountain behind where I live called Lion's Head. It's a lovely walk up, a little bit steep at the end. And I found myself, even with Table Mountain, I have a much better experience being barefoot. And what I wanted to share was, I think it was half a year ago, my friends decided to meet me where a lot of people meet 2/3 up. They park their cars and then they just walk that last bit up. And I usually go from the bottom. But they said, let's meet at 3 o'clock at the place where the Signal Hill, where the cars are parked. So I decided to venture from Sea Point, which I thought was only maybe a half an hour trek. But it was, I made a mistake. I didn't take a hat. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I didn't take water, and it was a breezeless day on this side of the mountain. And there I am trekking up this, with shoes, no hat, no water, up this area to try to get there by 3 o'clock. And it was so hot. I could feel the moisture and heat coming out the top of my head. And I thought, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to faint, and then I'm going to dehydrate, because this part of the mountain, there's no human beings hardly ever. I could pass out and not come round. So every now and then I'd find some sort of like 1 foot, 2 foot bush and stick my head under, or try to get my body under a bush just to recover from the really beating down sun. And this went on. I had to keep stopping and taking rest whenever I could find a decent bush. And then finally I got to where my friends were meeting me. And apparently I was as red as a tomato. And thank God they had water, because there's no tap. And I was trying not to drink all their water, but I really needed water. And I'm not really a water drinker. I drink at night, I drink in the morning, but I was screwed. So I try to be conservative on the generosity of their water. And then we started hiking that part to Lion's Head. And it's a bit gravelly. So I had my shoes on and I thought, oh my God, I'm not going to make it. I just don't think I can do this. But a part of me was like, you can't, they've waited for you. You can't let them down. And finally it was a little less gravelly, and I took my shoes and socks off and I practically ran up. I just, complete change of energy. There was a bit of a bottleneck coming down, lots of people. We have these chains and ladders, and I kind of weaved my way through, and I had to wait about 35 minutes for my friends to catch me up. And I trekked it again 2 days ago, had the same experience. I was like panting, couldn't keep up with this Polish girl in front of us. Took my shoes and socks off, and I was practically running up. So that's my inner extra confirmation proof that barefoot, you get this energy from the earth. It's like the earth is kissing you. It's wonderful. And your feet can calibrate all the nooks and crannies, so you get a better grip. You don't get these horrible hot feet unless it's like a really hot day and the stones are burning your feet. That can happen too. Good to hike early in the morning. And there's just so much different sense of aliveness. It's like a complete different experience. And people make comments to me like, oh, brave woman. I'm thinking the other way around. You guys are brave wearing shoes. You don't know what you're missing. It's more slippery with shoes. You don't feel the earth doesn't feel you. It's just a complete different experience. So that's my thing today, to share with you guys, to encourage you every day to have a few minutes barefoot outside in nature, touch the earth. You don't have to be a tree hugger, but just experiment. Be skeptical, but be open enough minded to experiment for yourself. And it's just basically, we're waking up neural pathways in the brain to just wake up to who we really are, and being barefoot. I mean, it's like we live in caves. I don't know if we're meant to be living in caves. We're living completely shut off from nature. We're killing the flies and insects in our homes. We're disconnected, and just a few minutes of barefoot a day, take a hike barefoot, gets a little bit of hard skin under your feet. It's okay. You don't want to see my feet. Dancer's feet, completely hard skin, but it's great. And I have very high arches. A part of my foot prevents gravity. So if I get a stone touching that little soft skin, it's awful. I can almost believe I was crucified in my feet. There's such cellular memory of pain. But the ball of my foot and my heels are nice and sturdy, and you get to learn, you get to feel like a goat and be nimble and jump from rock to rock. Or another way I like to say, climbing up the mountain, I feel like Spider-Man when I'm barefoot. It's a complete different experience. So please leave me your feedback. And next one is Facebook Live. And I'm going to show you some more tips.